Hey there, Brady here with your daily tennis lessons. So the week we are looking at some power killers throughout the game. And today we're going to look at the forehand. I got 3 instances of where a lot of club level players are losing significant power on the forehand. So the first one is a lack of coil. All right, and coil, to keep it really simple, coil's the idea of my upper body and my lower body offsetting one another. You know, similar to a rubber band. You know, when you pull a rubber band or twist it, you're storing some energy, and then when you let it go, snap, it just explodes, right? So we want to think of our upper body and our lower body, you know, with regards to a rubber band. So without coil, which would be, you know, basically my entire body completely turning together, I don't feel like I've stored any energy to let loose when I hit the shot. So I'll give you guys a look at a couple swings here on my forehand where I don't feel like I'm coiling my upper body off of my lower body. And I think you can see it's really coming in more of this neutral stance position. And not to say that a neutral or stepping stance doesn't work for us sometimes, but the pitfall is that the neutral stance keeps us from coiling the upper body off of the lower body. And I just feel like open stance promotes a better coil. But regardless, whether you're hitting open stance or more of a neutral stance, you really want to feel the midsection of your body rotating off. So now I feel all of this stored energy in here and in my hips, where once it's time to swing, it's that rubber band idea where I'm letting myself go. All right, so let's take a look at a few swings with some coil now. Yeah, way more explosive. Okay, so coil, extremely important. Do not forget to add that to the pivot position when you guys are setting the racket. All right, the second power killer on the forehand is a lack of legs. All right, and you're going to see this in the pros a lot, where they're almost jumping off the ground. And so I get a lot of questions, well, Brady, should I start jumping because the pros do? A jump in itself is not necessarily going to generate power for you guys. The reason that the pros are jumping is because they're dipping the legs so much more down and getting such good thrust from the ground up. And obviously they're strong and they're athletic, so that force that they're pushing up from the ground on is so explosive that they can't stop just when they stand up. They almost have to lift off the ground. So the legs, I think you could see in that first swing where I coiled but didn't really dip my legs into it, the legs bending me more is going to allow for a better coil. So those two really go hand in hand. Start to feel that coil, and as you're doing that, bend the legs more and you're going to feel better rotation. Essentially winding up this rubber band tighter and tighter where we can come exploding back through the ball. All right, so let's look at me dipping the legs down a little more into the shot here. And even right there, I'm getting a little bit of lift off that ground, just simply because I'm dipping into the ground more, creating more force from the bottom of my feet up into the swing. So make sure those legs are doing a lot of work to help us coil better. All right, and the third one is lag. And this is really where the club level player is missing the boat on that last bit of power that's going to turn your forehand into a huge weapon. The idea of lag is that the racket head needs to sit behind my right hand longer before I finally deliver the racket to the ball. It's very common at the club level to see little to no lag, which means the racket and the right hand come from the position behind and they swing together to the ball. Take a look at this. If I let everything stay together, even with some coil and some legs, you get the feeling that I'm just very stiff, right? I'm not letting things flow to the ball. So lag is me holding off on delivering the strings forward until the last possible second. And there is a ton of power to be had as you start to trust this lag process more and more. Not to mention, I think a common term now in tennis, we know the kinetic chain. Force from the ground up, through the body, and then that last piece of the puzzle is the hand in the racket delivering impact to the ball. This is the last piece of movement we're going to see before contact. So if we're really holding back and not letting the racket come too early, there's a really explosive move to be made there right into impact. So let's look at this forehand with some lag now. One more. All right. It's funny. As a tennis coach, I deliver the info so much, but that is like so eye-opening even for myself. The idea of not coiling enough, not using my legs enough, and then not lagging the racket. Having that reminder, I just clocked a couple forehands. Simple focus, make those additions. You guys, there's a lot of power to be had for the forehand, and I think, as you know, the forehand really should be a weapon for most players. So we don't want to be losing significant power with those three issues, all right? So go out, make sure, again, we're not just knowing the idea, we got to practice the ideas. Start to feel that bigger coil in the rotation as we set the racket, get the legs, spaced a little wider, start to push off from the ground up a little more, and then really work that idea of lag. You'll be ripping the forehand, all right? So that's all I got for you today. Hope that was super helpful. Please click like below this video, and if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do so, as well as check down below me in the description of this video. You'll find the link to 3 free courses Mark and I have put together. I think you'll find those helpful as well. All right, so until next time, be well, and we'll see you soon at Daily Tennis Lesson.